Please share with us why you are the best candidate to represent the 4th Congressional District in the United States Congress.
Kenny Houston is not a career politician. I'm a true community leader who has been working in the community behind the scenes. I work for behavioral health. I now own one that I've owned since 2014. Working in the community, hearing some of the cries of the community. I've worked with the mental health community since 2012. We provide services to people who need things nonstop. So we get to be involved with their personal lives and hear their needs as far as jobs, as far as the stress of not finding a job, as far as the stress of not having insurance, the stress of dealing with whatever is going on in the political world that affects them, but they truly don't understand it. So I choose to step into this arena for all of those thousands of people that I work with in the mental health community that has no color, has no race. It hits everyone. They want change in a lot of areas. So I stepped to take on that challenge. So their voice will truly be heard through me because I am part of the community and don't plan to be a political junkie or whatever you call it when you get in and you make friends. I just want to do what's best for the people in the community all over District 4, all over Louisiana.
And it's a pleasure to meet you, Kenny, as the second question comes up. And the next question is, please summarize for us your top 3 priorities and how you can affect change in those 3 areas.
Yes, ma'am. My top priority is the reason I initially got into the race was for police reform. All over the country and all over the world, people took to the streets because they wanted change. A bill was introduced, which is the George Floyd Policing Act of 2020, passed the House. Now it is sitting on a desk. The world was in an uproar. They want change, so I will promote and continue to push for that change on that bill. The second will be education. Education in Louisiana is not up to par. It hasn't been up to par for a very long time. I plan to work across party lines and across state lines because we have a neighboring state, which is Texas, which a lot of people come here, get whatever they can from Louisiana and move to Texas. It's a pipeline. I want people to love home. I want people to stay home. So we have to get the correct funding to our schools. We have to come up with a true process to get the people what they need at every school. We don't need to have thousands of schools all over Louisiana when we can maybe downsize, do whatever we need to do to get all of our good educators in one area and truly educate our teachers, and our students. A bill, the Universal Pre-K bill, was supposed to pass to educate our children earlier. It didn't pass. I will be pushing to get that put on the table because we have to invest in our children, their education. Thirdly, it will be universal health care. We had a pandemic hit. If it wasn't for the Affordable Health Care Act, about, I'll say roughly over 600, 7,000 people wouldn't have had insurance during a national pandemic, well, a worldwide pandemic. So I will push for the enhancement of the bill. They want enhancements, but I also want universal health care. We're dealing with times that we have never dealt with. We need people to have health care. We don't need people to have to second guess if they want to go get checked for COVID-19, if they want to go get checked for any of the illnesses that we deal with. Take care of yourself early. That way you won't be on prescription drugs by the time you're 25, 30 and trapped in the cycle. So those are the 3 things that I'll be pushing.
Question 3. What are the biggest threats to our regional economy, and what role do you believe Congress has in helping us respond to those threats?
Okay. When it comes to our job creation, we have to stop avoiding fixing our digital divide. I know that's a pull away a little bit from the question, but we have to fix our digital divide. That's what's keeping us behind with bringing in certain businesses. That's what's keeping us behind with just having people prepared for jobs, teaching them how to deal with handling the internet, job searching, actually doing jobs on the internet. So I want to fix the digital divide so we can attract those big companies, create incentives to bring jobs to this area. Because if we don't create jobs, the economy will never get back how it should be. People have to make money in order to spend money to put it back in the economy and start cycling it. We have to bring those jobs. I know people say it like it's generic, but we have to make that a priority. We have to bring all type of jobs, high paying jobs, not just $7 an hour, $8 an hour jobs that get people by. No, we need to work on getting those $15 an hour and up jobs so it can stimulate the economy. It'll stimulate it in every area if people have the jobs to spend the money.
In your opinion, what are the key industries of our district today, and where should we be positioning ourselves for the future?
In Louisiana, period, the oil and gas industry is huge. It is huge. But I think as far as the future, we need to look more into fixing our digital divide so we can have people doing all type of jobs via web, via internet. We have to be prepared to create long-term positions for people. We have to create early job training for welding, builders. We have to get away from just doing oil and gas, because I know it's a tough topic. I know it scares people to even speak on the oil and gas industry, but too often people go to work and get laid off, go to work and get laid off. We need to create jobs where they can actually work and sustain those jobs and retire from those jobs. So fixing our digital divide, once again, bringing in those data jobs, the computer-driven jobs, people where they can do things on the internet. We have to bring those type of jobs.
Question 5. What is your view of the current American healthcare landscape, and what congressional action do you believe is necessary to improve it?
If this is speaking on healthcare in the sense of what I spoke of as far as universal healthcare, is that correct?
Sure, if that's where you'd like to go.
Okay, yes. I definitely think that's something we need to push for. I truly believe in normalizing mental health in a lot of communities, because it's something that is shied away from. But if you normalize mental health and you create universal health care for all, it will better a lot of people's mental at work, and it will make people be healthier in life. People will take care of themselves more. People don't go to the doctor. Even people with jobs that make $50,000 to $60,000, they don't go to the doctor because they don't want the doctor bill that comes after it. So if we create universal health care and fix how people actually look at healthcare and say, no, you can go to the doctor. No, you won't have balloon bills afterward. No, we're going to look at the pharmaceutical industry and say, no, they're not going to be able to charge you outrageous prices for your prescriptions. So I'll be working on all the bills that work on lowering those prices and creating universal health care, and work on normalizing behavioral health and mental health in our communities, because we need it to sustain. We have to have a clear mental if we want to move forward in society, especially with the way the world is today. Things are, especially I'll speak on Shreveport and you and Bossier as well. A lot of the crime we have is attributed to that. It's attributed to mental health. So when you say universal health care, it'll hit all those areas. We have to focus on it. We have to look into it. We have to stop saying we don't have the money, because we just passed $1 trillion stimulus. So we can find the money. We can move things around. We just have to work on creating universal health care and normalizing mental health in all communities.
Okay, question number 6. A number of our significant community assets, such as the Cyber Innovation Center, Barksdale Air Force Base, Red River, I-49, and I-20, depend upon federal support. How would you support these initiatives while in Congress?
Well, my father is a military vet. So when it comes to the needs of anything the military needs, I'll be fully behind it. And I don't really have, I don't know a lot of the details as far as dealing with those areas, but I am willing to learn from members in Congress that will be informing me. I'll actually go through the freshman training. But as far as our military goes, anything they need, I'm definitely willing to get behind it. I will be looking to, when there is a need, to pull some funds, to shift some funds to certain areas here for people just trying to get by. I know it's going to be tough, but that will have to be done. It just has to be done, because out here living in the regular world, it's getting very difficult in Louisiana, and especially in Shreveport and Bossier.
Question 7. Our area has an abundance of oil and gas resources. At the same time, renewable energy development is expanding across the globe. What role do you believe Congress has in helping our region address both of these opportunities?
Well, there is a bill, the new Green Deal. It's a bill that is working on creating an entire new base of jobs, and it is one that contradicts the oil and gas industry. I will be supporting that bill. Well, it's more like a plan. It's not even a bill. Are you guys? Well, I want to ask, are you familiar with it? But yeah, it's one that believes in creating a totally new way to live life. Working on dealing with making energy from towers, from the windmills, just clean air. So those will bring a lot of new jobs. Once again, I know it's a scary topic when we hear oil and gas. I love it. I understand that's the Louisiana way, but we have to work on creating long-lasting jobs. We have to create a future for our children. And if we keep working on oil and gas drilling constantly, the future will be different. So I will be supporting that plan because it's not a bill yet. It's just a plan. You hear AOC talk, she talks about it a lot, but I will be supporting that.
Congress has recently passed nearly $5 trillion in stimulus relief to support businesses and individuals during the pandemic. How do you believe Congress should approach addressing these costs over the long term?
That's tough. I noticed the package they put out. The package only helps some businesses sustain about 8 weeks to maybe another 4 weeks. So I feel like it helped, but ultimately it helped to put people right back in the same position. So it's a bill that, I mean, it's a stimulus that it was released, but I don't think it truly helped a lot of businesses, at least the ones that I've interacted with in Shreveport, Louisiana. It helped them sustain for a little while, but then the funds got cut off. It only gave you enough funds to to bring workers back for about 8 weeks to 12 weeks. So then you're back struggling to get by. I do think that ultimately we're going to have to pay for this. It's no true way to figure it out right now, at least from my perspective, because I'm not on the inside yet. I see a lot of talks about raising taxes for billionaires, which that's definitely something I support because they just can't afford it. If you look at the everyday worker that's already upset when their taxes are ripping through their check, you can increase those people's taxes. I also saw that there was a bill passed to stop taking taxes out to the end of the year, but then they're going to take double next year. So I don't think it's a burden that we should put on our 9-to-5 workers. I think it's definitely a burden that we should put on our billionaires. It's a tough decision, but it's going to have to be made. The people working a 9-to-5 could possibly go into homelessness if you make them pay for this stimulus money. It's going to have to be our billionaires. It's going to have to be our millionaires. It's a tough decision, but it just has to get made. It's going to have to come out of their funds. They're going to have to pay a tax. That's the only way we're going to be able to bounce back from this. If not, we'll just keep adding to the national debt.
Question 9. It appears that partisanship is growing more deeply entrenched in Washington, D.C., and citizens are growing more frustrated with the political process. What will you do to help change that and still remain effective for the 4th Congressional District?
Okay. That's another community topic. I literally want to bring things back to meeting with people in the community, getting their feedback once it's truly explained to them, talking to all the local mayors throughout District 4, seeing that they feel like it is fair as far as us here in Louisiana. Because I don't want to make certain decisions just solely on my knowledge without reaching out to those people in those positions, getting their understanding of it, and then making a decision on it. So that's not something that I want to speak on solely by myself. I want to involve the mayors of Louisiana. I want to make sure they give me a voice. So when I'm speaking correctly on things that will impact their cities, impact Louisiana. That way they feel like they truly have a voice, and I'm not making a decision based on sitting in a room, with people that are pretty much wealthy, to be honest.
Question number 10. Mm-hmm. The year 2020 has been a challenging one for our nation with unprecedented levels of healthcare risk, economic disruption, and social unrest. What is your perspective on these issues, and what role do you believe Congress should play in addressing them?
Yeah, that goes back to listening to the people. We have been seeing, once again, we saw people take to the streets. We see people protesting about almost every topic matter of fact, not almost, people are protesting about every topic that you named. So when these things come to the table that will give people directly what they want, we have to stop worrying about, I'm a Republican, you're a Democrat. What do the people want? What do the people need? The people are protesting and letting us know on the streets what they need. We know what their needs are. It has to stop coming down to political games. It has to stop coming down to, you voted against me last time, so I'm going to vote against this no matter what, because what Congress votes on hurts the people. So literally, plain and simple, give people exactly what they want. Sit down with those leaders, talk about the needs, get police reform done, get universal health care done, talk to your small businesses. What do you need? Why is it so hard on you? It sometimes seems simple said, but it really is if you really listen to the people. People tell you what they want. But often we see our people at the congressional level do the complete opposite. and all you have to do is put a Band-Aid over it and keep going. And they do the complete opposite again. So listening to people and doing what the people ask is, it's simple. And I know it can be, I'm going to be the person that upsets a lot of people, because I'm going to be the person that says, no, I've talked to all my mayors. No, I talked to a lot of people on the city council. These are big problems in these areas. So this is what I'm supporting. I'm not going to want to hear about, we can't afford it. I'm not going to want to hear, oh, well, that's a Republican putting that on the table. No, if it's going to benefit the community, if it's something they're asking for it, I'm pushing it.
Okay, this will be your final question, and we'll include your final remarks. So is there anything else you would like to tell us about yourself that we might not have covered?
Mm-hmm. In closing, I say often that I'm not a career politician, but I do understand that now I am, because I'm in the political arena. But I just want people in the community to know Kenny Houston sounds so local, and Kenny Houston says community so much, because any bill that is passed, whether it's giving the military more funds, whether it's something in healthcare, whether it's a new law as far as police reform, privatized prison, marijuana, whatever it is, pay attention, because it affects you. So that is why I talk and I sound like I'm a community guy, because I work with the community, but I want you guys to pay attention. If I'm not successful, I still want you to pay attention. If I'm successful, I want you to pay attention. If Kenny Houston does something you don't like, protest. That's the only way to make your cause matter. That's the only way to draw attention to it. If you feel like you guys need new knitting machines and you didn't get them, put signs up, bring the yard. You have to uprise as a community when you are unhappy. Some people won't say it to you, but that is something I'll be pushing. I want people to rally behind what they believe in and push it. So vote for me if you can, if the letters don't distract you, because in closing, I do want to say that. Stop voting for R or D. Look at your candidates, learn about your candidates, learn about the people. I talk to Democrats, I talk to Republicans, I talk to independent. We're all people, we're all trying to survive, we're all trying to live. Stop voting for letters and just learn about people.